Join us for a closer look at some fantastic Chaos Dwarf models from Forge World for the Age of Sigmar. Spiky bits. Alright, welcome back, hobby maniacs. Baer with you once again today, showcasing some fantastic Chaos Dwarf models. Now, you've probably seen these guys at Forge World. If you haven't seen the battle report over on the Long War with these pitted against Juice's Skaven, it might be worth a watch. They're a very fun and exciting list. They have some crazy war machines and just look really good in general. But today we're just going to kind of take a look at their kind of like troops and their big baddie, Shar'tor, the Executioner. Now this is technically, I mean, you say Chaos Dwarfs, so technically the Legion of Asgarth, but we all know them as Chaos Dwarfs. Now, some people are, are on the fence about the design of these guys. I think they're pretty cool. I think they stay loyal to the old metal ones. Now, they may not have the big crazy top hats like some of the guys did back in the day, which seemed to be very popular. I guess the Bubble teams with that style, and they sell for a whole lot. But these guys are pretty neat. Now, we're going to go over the rules. We're going to take a closer look at them. Now, these guys kind of have that thing where people see them on tabletop, and they're like, oh, those are really cool looking. Like, I did the same thing. I was like, wait, those are really dope looking. Whereas, when you see them on Forge World site, you're like, whatever, kind of Chaos Dwarfs. I feel like they have this like negative stigma about them for no reason other than the fact that just assumed to be like old and not cool looking. But then when people see them, they're like, wow, those are actually really cool looking. And I agree. I did the same exact thing. And I think that's because the same thing happens when people see my Beast Claw Raiders, like my Ogors. They're just like, wow, these guys are really cool. I love these new Age of Sigmar designs. And I'm like, nah, these are the same designs. They've been around for 5 years. And these guys, believe it or not, have been around for almost the same amount of time, strangely enough. It's kind of like the Rodney Dangerfield kind of thing. They just don't get any respect. Now, they are ginormous models in and of themselves. So let's zoom in a little bit so you can kind of get a better, fresher idea on just how big these guys really are. Now, first off, they're on the bigger, larger kind of motorcycle kind of size base. So that kind of should clue you in there right now. Now, as far as this is just the front of the model. You know what I mean? Like, you got to clean these guys up, and they sock it in very well. These weren't designed on a computer, I don't think, because it seems like there's a lot of like kind of manual design flair, I guess, to these guys that maybe not might be indicative of them not being designed on the computer. But they've got a front and a rear, of course, with the multi, kind of like you have the different legs, and they're basically doing 3 different poses. So you just find which one kind of locks together, and boom, the front's armored, the back isn't, but they have these little armor plates that you can kind of snap on there as well. And then, of course, their hand weapons, which are also part of their profile. It's a dark tide axe. I think they have another one too that's like a double-handed kind of thing. So then their heads, of course, are like ginormous and like beard and angry, very very similar to like what I would envision like a Chaos Giant to be. But I mean, look at the size of their hands. Like, these things are ginormous. I mean, this is a dice, just to give you any idea. Now you're like, oh, wow, these are really big, right? So I mean, the styling's incredible. I mean, the faces are all very articulated, very cool looking. They get horns. They go on the sides of each. Money wise, these aren't too bad. They're, what are they, $58, so I guess that's roughly about 80-ish, maybe 90-ish these days, depending on which way the wind's blowing with the conversion rate. But like I said, for 3 unique looking models, here you can see the 3 unique torsos, I don't think it's a bad deal. I mean, any hobby's expensive, these guys included. Now, it is not cheap to put together a Chaos Dwarf army, especially when you factor in all the war machines. But Forge World does have a couple of bundles to help you out in that regard. I don't think they have a bundle for the troops, though. So I kind of want to clarify something when I say troops. I think the bull renders there are only count as troops when you take this guy right here. This is Shar'tor, the Executioner. He's the big baddie. He is pretty good for his points in Age of Sigmar, and we'll get to the rules last. But for looks, I mean, I'm not sure I'm feeling the paint job on this particular one right here, I'll be quite honest. But I've seen this guy in person, and obviously I have him right here, but I've also seen him in person put together and assembled, and he is badass. He is very cool looking. It's one of those models that you're just like, damn, what is that? Oh, that's those Chaos. Those guys look good. Like, that is the same reaction every time somebody sees the Chaos Dwarfs. Like, oh, Chaos Dwarfs? Those guys look good. And I'm just like, why are we all so dumb sometimes? I swear, some models just have a bad rep, I guess. So here you can see all the different parts. It does come with a custom base, which right there is definitely bigger than the ones that the bull renders come with. That's your next size up there. I think that is the size that things like the Morphan Cavalry and such are on. Actually, the Tree Lords and things are on this in Age of Sigmar, not the Morphan Cavalry. I misspoke there. But this is a ginormous kit. It's obviously, you know, one of the Forge World character series because this guy is a badass. Comes in two of these little clan packs. Now here is, look how big that is. That is just bananas. Imagine this is a normal clan pack. That's a piece of resin. Okay. That's just bananas to me. And then here's the actual model itself with the helm of, what is that? Asgoth? Asgoth, I think. I think that's their guy. Oh, no, Hashut. Hashut's their, the guy, the Dark Lord, the Dark One. And then there's that piece right there. Boop. So there he is. And then he gets even bigger when you put that top on him, which we might be able to do, actually. Oh, man, look how big that is. That's, like, bigger than my hand. That's, like, bigger than the Warlord Titan, like, Power Fist. This guy by himself. It's crazy. And then here's the base that you can actually put the other base on, which, like I said, is bigger than the Bull Centaur render bases. So I love the styling on this guy. See, you know, these guys are all like very kind of like Mesopotamia. I don't know, you know what I'm saying. The whole cradle of civilization, like gone horribly bad and like darkness, you know, kind of type thing, which I dig. Because it's different and it's like kind of a little grimdarky, but not, you know, far future, of course. And of course it's chaos, so it's just fun. Now it's got all that styling, you know, this is something you would expect to see kind of like, you know, Tomb King's styling, of course, but it's very well done. I mean, there's little studs and things all over the place. I mean, of course it's muscles and everything. Everything is very well done. You got little tabards, you got little pieces of leather, and then of course armor plating, straps, the whole 9 yards there, as well as hooves. Now, when we slide this guy over, I just want to put out the rest of his pieces here, just to kind of give you a representation of. That's just crazy. Look at that blade right there. That's just so crazy. I think that's his Dark Tide axe. That thing is nuts. That thing is just ginormous. I don't even want to know. I know what it does because I fought against this guy, and it's just he's a monster. For 240 points, I feel like he's super good. Oh, man. So he is a character series. He is a little bit more expensive than a normal guy. I think he runs about $70 US, which, you know, it is what it is. It's kind of like Primarch status, but I feel like you get way more resin than the Primarchs there. And there's a horn. I don't know where that horn goes. 4. Left, right, lower horn. Left horn is 3. Oh, I guess it snapped out of this. Okay, so there's 3 horns on there. That's why. So he's got his little hand, and then he's got his, what is this? I have no idea what this is. But there's some armor plating and some more armor plating in his axe himself. Let's see if we can figure out where this stuff goes. Oh, so this is like a buckler kind of thing. Oh, that's neat. Okay. And then he's got like the winged helm. Oh, and this goes, that goes in the middle. I got it. And then there's his hand. Still don't get what this piece is right here. It's bugging me. I got to figure it out. 6 is his tail. Of course it's his tail. Why wouldn't it be? Of course he has a tail. Duh. There it is. Okay. Well, mystery solved. But this guy's dope. Like, I don't know what it is about the Age of Sigmar, but I really I gravitated towards like playing the big baddies. You know, like I saw the Beastclaw Raiders and I'm like, man, those guys look cool, and the little woolly mammoths and all that stuff. Like I want to do that. And I tell you what, if my buddy Lucas wasn't playing these guys, I'd probably try to play these guys too in the Age of Sigmar, because they are just so dope looking. These guys are huge. They're just so fresh. Like, I would love to play these guys, and they have this big badass kind of special character guy, so I'm really digging them. Now let's go over their rules, because I know some of you are out there, well, you know, how good are they in Age of Sigmar? Well, let's take a look. So the Shar'tor the Executioner is a free download from Games Workshop site. You can get it from the Forge World site, or it's also on the app. All of the Legion of Asgoth are on the app itself. So here he is. Now, he's 240 points profile base. So he's less than, say, you know, some of your bigger casters that are 500, 600, 700 points. Stuff like the Beastclaw Raiders, 460. If you take the Frost Lord, if you take some of the Thunder Tusks, they're like, what, 340? So he's less than that. He doesn't quite have quite as many wounds, but he does have some pretty badass weapons here. So 2-inch range, 5 attack, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, -2 rend, 3 damage attack. That's 5 attacks base. Then he's got his hooves, which are 4 attacks, 4's a hit, 4's a wound, 1 damage. So, you know, it's whatever. It's paltry, but it's still pretty good. Now, when you roll a 6 on your hits with a Darktide Axe, you may immediately make another attack against the same target. So there's probably a 1 in 6 chance that you'll get that every time you swing. So I would say if you do, you know, your numbers right and your tiebreakers, you might get it every time you roll your attacks. But remember, you can't keep getting 6s because that's part of pitch battle. And he's so good that his actual entry in the app says you can only take one of these guys in the pitch battle profile or pitch battle games because he is that good. The game knows it too, apparently. Trample and Gore, charging bull centaurs basically get a impact hit. So his attacks are increased to damage 2 if you charge in the same turn. So that's a little bit extra better. So his hooves become damage 2. In addition to, I thought they had a charge 6. Well, I thought the renders did. I guess that doesn't. I guess that's his special one right there. Mask of the Executioner. That's that dope ass mask he has on of. I think it's like of Hashut. No, it's of. Dang, what's that guy? I always get their like background so mixed up. It's yeah, it is Hashut. Okay, the evil one, the dark one, in the name of Hashut. Yep. Okay, so he can use the power of the mask. Roll 2d6 and the distance to get the distance of the mask effect in inches. And everybody with the keyword can reroll their charge distances in the charge phase. And additionally, roll d6 for each model in the enemy army that is in range. On the result of a 4-up, that model suffers a mortal wound. Huh. All right, so that's doubly good right there, because remember, he's moving 7 inches, so he's trucking it. And then he's got the Prayers of Malice, which was kind of a thing back in the old edition of Fantasy that had Chaos Dwarfs. Pick a unit from your army within 12 of the Executioner for each wound or mortal wound suffered by that unit until your next hero phase. Roll a d6. On a result of 6, that wound is ignored, so it gets around mortal damage right there. So he's good. He's definitely good. He doesn't have anything that kind of mitigates damage besides that, which isn't super duper effective, I guess. But it's still a gimme. But man, you get this guy in, he is doing some work, and he also makes, according to the General's Handbook, he makes these guys, the bull centaur renders, troops. So if you're trying to take like a mounted kind of cavalry kind of thing, centaur kind of deal, you're gonna need him. Now, as far as the bull centaur renders themselves go, they're 160 points for 3, so the bag basically. As far as their stats go, they aren't too bad. Let's see, so they have 3 attacks. Well, 3 different types of attacks. You can arm them with a regular weapon or a great weapon. They also have this thing, if they have just a regular weapon and not the 2-handed weapon, they have it's called Spite Shield, and that basically can redirect a hit back at the person that hit them if they have a 6. If you pass a save roll for a model equipped with a Spite Shield on a roll of 6 or more, that unit's destructible immediately receives 1 wound. So it basically reposes it back. Similar, I guess, to the way Core Bloodbound can do that, but I think theirs is mortal. Then a Furious Attack, the Bull Centaur renders fighting with the Chaos Weapon in each hand. That's the Scalding Weapons and not the Great Weapon, which is 2-handed, I believe. Rerolls a hit of 1 for each model armed with a pair of the hand weapons, which is pretty standard. Chaos Warriors, I believe, do that as well. Trample and Gore, charging bulls get D3. Their hooves attacks cause D3 damage if they charge in the same turn rather than 1. So theirs, instead of impact hits, it does extra damage with their hoof attacks. Very similar to Shar'tor right here as well. And then burning, favor of the burning god. If any of the Baal hero type keyword is within 8 of a bull centaur render unit, it may add 1 inch to the charge roll. So they're going to be moving 8. These guys move 7. They have 4 wounds, 4 up save with 6 bravery. Not too bad. So they can have either a double-handed great weapon or the executioner's, which could be an axe or a maul, or they can have the double-handed weapons. Either way, whichever version you take, they both get 3 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, except for the great weapon is -1 rend with 1 damage, and their hoof attacks, they get 2, 4 up to wound, and 1 damage unless you charge, and then it's D3. So not too shabby. They're pretty fun, but I think if you've seen that battle report, their strength definitely lies in their war machines. They can put out a ridiculous amount of firepower, and as long as you can screen those bad boys with either the Bull Centaur renders, or even Chaos Warriors, or even the Chaos Dwarfs themselves, and keep the enemy from getting to them, you're gonna have a really interesting game of Age of Sigmar, because those guys can literally spit hot fire across the tabletop. So I've played against it, I've seen it, I've recorded a battle report. It can get pretty ugly, but you know, if the enemy gets to them, it gets pretty ugly for them too. Those little machines and such. So they're a fun little army, and I am really excited. I can't wait to see these guys painted up. These are actually for a friend of mine that I was mentioning. He will be painting these up for his army. So hopefully we'll have a bigger battle report for you guys here in the near future on either Spiky Bits or the Long War, of course. That's it for this one. Errors, omissions, questions. Ask me how many cats I have. Leave it below.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.